I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Let's now take a look at page 40 of the Grade 1 Discovering Music Theory workbook, and we're going to be looking at the topic of intervals. This brings back into play the information that we talked about in the scales and talking about the degrees of the scale. So if you want to refer back to page 30 and just have a little look at the information of that just to refresh your memory, and we're going to be looking at that very same topic again, but now we're looking at it in the context of intervals, and literally that just means the space or the distance between two notes, and we're always counting from the bottom note, counting upwards. And here we can see that we've got the scale of C major, and we're counting the distance between the tonic and the different degrees of the scale. And so from C to D is a second, C to E is a third. We're going from the first degree to the second degree of the scale, or the first degree of the scale to the third degree of the scale. And it's as simple as that, really. However, it's quite easy to get confused simply if you just forget to count step 1, degree 1. And let's just look at that on the piano keyboard. So you can sketch yourself a quick piano keyboard out. And we can see that from C to D, we'd call that the interval of a second. So we go 1, 2, and the only way that you can go wrong is to forget to count the first degree of the scale and go 1, which would be incorrect. So we need to count 1, 2, from 1 to 2, C to D is a second. So C to E, 1, 2, 3 is a third. And if you go wrong and forget to count step 1 for the tonic, you'd go 1, 2, and you'd be a degree out, naming the distance of the interval incorrectly. So always remember to count the bottom note, the bottom degree, as 1, and then we're counting the distance between that and the next named note. Now here we have this little illustration of all of the degrees of the scale in relation to step 1. So we've got the intervals of a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, and octave, or you could say eighth. And these are all coming one after another, and so we would call these melodic intervals. I'll just write that there. Melodic intervals, because they come one after each other as if it was in a melody. So that's the proper explanation. So that is a melodic second there, just out of interest really. And another way we can work them out, because we perhaps don't always want to be referring to the piano keyboard, if we just count the distance, and we're always counting line, space, line, space, line, space to count every single step. So from C to D is line, space, 1, 2. From C to E is line, space, line, 1, 2, 3. From C to F, counting this first step, 1, 2, 3, 4. Line, space, line, space. So you're always counting every single line, space, or space, line, depending where your first note is starting from. However, if you feel like you want to just really double, triple check that, you can always just write out the degrees of the scale. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then we'll name these steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so now we can double check ourselves. So let's jump to this next one. So we're going to count a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. line, space, line, space, line. However, we can see that this is a note G, and we can see that note G is the fifth. So from C to G is a fifth. So you could just kind of double, triple check it that way. And then we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A is the sixth degree of the scale. From C to A is the interval, the distance of a sixth. B is a seventh, and then C to C is a whole octave. You could say eighth or 8VE for short. And so let's press on to exercise 1. Now here we've moved key, and so our tonic has changed, and we're counting now from F because we're in the key of F major. We're told that here. We know that because we've got B flat, so that's the scale system for F major to make the major scale pattern of tones and semitones. And again, we're always counting, you always count the lowest note as your tonic. We're always counting up from this lowest note. So not forgetting to count this as the first, and then the next door step from space to line is a second. However, again, you could always just write out the steps of the scale, starting on F, G, A, B. Of course it's B flat, but your key signature kind of does that job for you. C, D, E, F, and these are steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so we have 1, 2, and F to G we know is a second, and so that's correct there. And of course you could always just visualize that on a piano keyboard. F to G, not forgetting F is 1, G is 2. And so perhaps you might like to just have a go at these now. Try them on your own, always work in pencil. It doesn't matter if you go wrong, you always learn better. You learn more thoroughly by making some mistakes, and then you can just erase it out and you'll learn it really thoroughly that way. So don't worry if you go wrong, it can easily be amended. So I'm hoping that you've pressed pause, had a little go, and now we can check through these together. So counting the intervals, and remember these are melodic intervals, one after another. And so we're counting from F is 1, then space, line, space, 1, 2, 3, F, G, A. A is a third, so that's a third. You don't just write 3, you do call it a third, fourth, fifth, just as you do with dates on the calendar. We're describing the intervals, not just 2, it's a third, it's a distance of a third. So let's continue. So counting F as 1, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, space line, and that's a B, but it's a B flat because of your key signature, and so yes, we're sure that's a fourth. And then we can just tell that's one higher, so if that's a fourth, that must be a fifth, mustn't it? Because the bottom note's the same, and so if that's the same, we've gone one note higher, that's a sixth, but let's double check it, let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's a D. Every good boy deserves. D is the sixth, so that's correct. And then we've gone higher again from D to E, we've gone a step higher, so we've gone a seventh, but we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when it's spaces, you can kind of hop over the 2, 4 and 6 because we've got 1, 3, 5, 7 going from space, 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 because we know it goes line, space, so we can miss out the line and just kind of hop over just to be quicker. So you do get used to kind of just jumping through these quite quickly. However, I think we've established that's a seventh. And then here we have F to F, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an octave, and we can see as we step up the degrees of the scale, the distance from the bottom note 1 gets higher a step at a time until we've got through the whole octave. And so we have the same pattern now in G major, and we can just be sure that we've counted this correctly by just working them out. So we have 1, 2, and again if I just write out G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Of course it's F sharp, that would be the major scale pattern. Your key signature takes care of that. And then we've got steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have G as 1, next door note is A, that's a second. And then we can tell we're just stepping up second, third, fourth. And so we've gone a step higher, we can be pretty sure this is a fifth. 1, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting every step. And that's going to D, which is indeed a fifth. So just being super thorough here. Then we can go a step higher, G to E is a sixth. And then here, don't forget this is an F sharp because of the key signature. And so that is a seventh in that major scale pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good boys deserve football. So we know that's a seventh. There's our seventh. And then G to G is a whole octave. Let's count it to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. G to G, of course, is an octave. And so it's quite simple, so long as you remember to count number 1. That's the easiest way that you can go wrong. And forget to count this as the first step, the first degree, and then you will be step out. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee. And for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.